certainty of death, small chance of success. What are we waiting for?
Fellas, I feel this is my lucky day.
Brilliant.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Rankum. This is going to be a fun one today. We're going to be talking about the top 12 matches of John Roker's career. We've got a fun panel here. Over to my left, we've got Brian. Brian, how's it going?
It's great to be out here talking about the greatest foreground drop pick ever.
And also here we've got Joseph. Joseph, how's it going? You are muted apparently.
Still muted.
You can't hear you.
Nope, still there.
No, try and leave and come back, and we'll see if that fixes it. It's never a live show until technology doesn't work.
Exactly. Just like the Mercs.
But yeah, well, I'm waiting for Joseph to come back. I'm just going to run down how the show works, and how it works is we're going to go around a panel, nominate a match of John Roker's that we think belongs on a top 12 list, and yeah, and still can't hear you for some reason.
Make me the headphones, baby.
No, still nothing. But you how the show it's going to each go around in a panel and nominate a match of John Roker's we think belongs on a top 12 list. And then at the end of the show we'll each vote on where they belong. Fortunately, this intro is going to be a little bit longer than usual because we're sorting out technology. I should have realised I didn't hear him say anything when he came in and got that sorted then, but yeah. But yeah, this is really riveting stuff. Just trying to think of something to talk about while we wait for
The
Joseph
poll
to
for
get
last
back.
week.
Was that so?
The poll for last week's episode, maybe like.
Yeah. That's what.
Can you hear me?
Still can't hear you.
Yeah, it's kind of low.
Oh,
Oh, heard
yes.
something.
I hear, but the sound's kind of low on your end.
Hello. Is there anything you can hear?
We can hear you.
Much
Okay.
better.
Jeez.
But aside from technical problems, how are you, Joseph?
Oh, jeez. Doing good right now. Wow. Man. Last time I used those earphones, the mic worked, so I don't know what happened.
Yeah. But yeah, I actually think I'm not going. Haven't sorted out the poll from last week, and I'm just not going to worry about it. But we're going to get right into it. Our show works. We're each going to go around, nominate a match from John Roker's that we think belongs on a top 12 list, and then we will say yes or no to it. Majority votes get it on the list. Brian, what is the first match you're going to bring up?
I'll go bring up the first match one. And yeah, all I'm going to say is Bespin.
So, John Roker and Scott Mance won, yeah, I'm guessing.
Yep.
Joseph, what are your thoughts on John Roker versus Scott Mance won?
I like the match. It's a match that was close. It's surprisingly close if you look back at it. People remember the Bespin moment the most because it's iconic. It's a choke moment for Roka. But the match was still very close. It's also the fire moment that gave Roka his competitive edge to his personality and his persona in the Schmoedown. I think it's a good pick. It's a loss technically for him, but in terms of his best matches, I think this is definitely a key one that should be mentioned. I will vote yes for this list.
Yeah, I mean, with that, it does mean it makes the list. But yeah, I would have sided on yes too. I mean, I went through a lot of these matches and sort of rewatched a few of them. I haven't quite decided if I like the first or second one more of this. I just wish we got the third to complete the trilogy, but
Yep.
But with that being said, Joseph, what is the first match you're going to bring up?
So the one match in particular that really made me go like, oh my gosh, Roka did it, where I definitely started paying more attention to him after the whole Bespin moment, seeing him gradually build up his confidence and his persona in the Schmoedown. One other match that I think was very big was him versus Christian Harlow. It's also the first, well, it was one of the first matches where a player got over 20 points in the old format. He broke the record of singles points at the time, so that's my pick. Roka versus Harlow.
Yeah, this this is another one that I actually rewatched. Like rewatched a lot of the early matches because I realized I actually didn't remember a lot of these ones. But yeah, I really do like this match. And it's an easy yes for me. Brian, what did you say about Roker versus Harlow?
I like this match. It's one of the earliest highest scoring matches, and also the first time you ever see a celebrity call this match.
Yeah, Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yep. But that Roker versus Harlow does make this list, and we've got Frenchie in the comments agreeing. And I'm going to bring up one of their team matches. I'm going to bring up Founding Fathers versus Corruption from Orlando, and I believe that was either 3 or 4.
3.
It was 3, yeah. I mean, Founding Fathers and Corruption had a massive rivalry here, and this is one where I think the Founding Fathers either went perfect or went almost near perfect because this was a really high-scoring teams match. And this is just one that definitely showcased sort of how much because they knew they had to really study and do something to even beat corruption. So and they did it, and this is just one of those ones I think is going to stand up. It's more of a sort of recency one there, but I do think it's a great match. Brian, what do you say about Founding Fathers versus Corruption 3?
This is not my favorite corruption fight for the match, so I'll give it a no.
Joseph, what do you say about Founding Fathers versus Corruption 3?
I do remember being excited for this match because the thing about corruption is I can't stand them. They're good at what they do. I just can't stand them. I'm always rooting against them. I know that's what they want to do, but so I was excited that when this match happened and the end result happened. It's arguably not the best one of their matches. It's definitely the least controversial of their matches, I think. So, it's pretty early. I vote yes. I vote yes for this one.
So, Founding Fathers versus Corruption 3 does make this list. Brian, what is the next match you're going to bring up?
For me, I'll go bring up top 10 versus top that. This is a match where we saw the first time a whole team got perfect, even the bonus. The whole controversy with the biopic situation, but still, this is a highest scoring match. Dominated this one.
Joseph, what do you say about top 10 versus top that?
I agree. This is a very, very impressive match and very, very excellent performance from John and Matt Nose at the time when they were top 10. It kind of sucks to me what match they had after this match to get to with the Patriots right after this match. But this match itself, I still think is a really, really great performance that showcases Roka's abilities as a trivia player and also as a personality. So I vote yes as well.
Yeah, so it does make this. I personally would have gone no for this one because I do like the match. Like this is one I did go back to, but this is just one I thought was fine. I mean, well, yes, like the whole controversy, the whole biopics is there. It did show the importance of when you know who you're going up against to study your opponents. But that being said, it's going to make the list regardless. And we move over to Joseph.
Another huge high-scoring match that Roka was in with Matt Nost with top 10 was in the teams tournament in 2017 when they played Blofeld's Cat of formerly, well, also now non-active players, retired. They also broke team points records in this format. And it's also very fun to see Roka try to call out team action in the post-match interviews, telling them, "Hey, team babies, we're gonna spank your behinds for the next match." You know the history about that one, but that's my pick, my nomination.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of those ones that I do like. And I just didn't go back to watch this because I went because like it's going to be low down on my list anyway. Like I'm actually going to say no because I think John Rowe's been in a lot of good. He's been in a lot of high scoring matches. Full stop. I mean, but yeah, I'm going to say no. Brian, what do you say about top 10 versus Blofeld's?
I'm going to give it a no. This match, I didn't remember they had a match together, so no.
So top 10 versus Blofeld's Cat does not make the list. I'm going to bring this one up. Like this one happened at the singles tournament last year. I'm going for John Roker versus Adam Collins. Well, yes, it is a loss for Roker. And I wouldn't be upset if it doesn't make it on for that reason. But this is one that was more of a showcase of showing what Adam Collins could do. But in saying that, John Roker did fight very well in this, and but it did end up being a knockout. But I'm going to see what happens here. Brian, what do you say about John Roker versus Adam Collins?
I'm going to give this a no as well. I like the match, but it's not one of the ones I go back to.
And Joseph, what do you say about John Roker versus Adam Collins?
I agree. It's not one match. It's not a match I go back to. I don't think it's a particularly standout match from Roka's point of view. I agree that it's a standout from Adam Collins' point of view, but it's also a huge. It's I don't know. It doesn't stand out to me when I think of John Roka matches. So I'll have to say
No, that's fine. I knew it was probably going to go that way, but Brian, what is the next one you're going to bring up?
For me, I'll go break up the triple threat between Roka, Murrell, and Wily. The first ever triple threat we ever got in between three of the champs. And this one, I quite enjoy this match. One of my favorite matches of Roka's.
Joseph, what do you say about Roka, Riley, and Riley, and
there's a particular moment that happens in the late to the party's reaction to this match when Roka misses the Back to the Future Calvin Klein question. Everyone goes like, "Oh, what in the world?" is like, "Shut up, Fruit of the Loom." No, just hearing that all that reaction still makes me laugh. Even though going back to how this is technically a loss for Roka, even though this is a loss for Roka, he still almost beat Dan Murrell again. He took Dan Murrell to the wire, forced him to answer all of his questions. Dan Murrell had to clutch his 5-point question in order to beat both Riley and Roka. This is a also very tight match, mostly between Murrell and Roka. Riley was there, had not his best performance, but in terms of Roka matches, this is definitely a highlight. I vote yes for this one.
Yeah, this would have been the easiest for me as well. Like just for the fact that at the time that this match happened, these were the only 3 singles champions ever, and so seeing all 3 of these facing off, it's just it was just great to see, and it's just a great match all around. But Joseph, what is the next match you're going to bring up?
So, who can forget the classic moment where Roka reacts out of pure excitement and joy after beating Dan Murrell for the first time, being the first ever singles player to beat Dan Murrell and winning the belt from him. My nomination is John Roka versus Dan Murrell 1. It's a very tight match. It's a very tight match. John Roka's reaction of pure elation is priceless. Seeing how much he worked on it, how much he gave Murrell a fight. That's my nomination.
Yeah. This is actually the last one I actually watched today. And this was a really great match. And this is an easy yes for me. And this could be a chance that Murrell pops up a lot on here, to be honest. And I'm talking more specifically about playing against Roker as opposed to the teams. But this is just one that this is just one of those ones that is just fun to see someone actually beating someone who most people thought would have been was unstoppable. I mean, because I remember really early on, it's like people were like, no one is going to beat Murrell, and just seeing that Roker being the first was just one of those things. But Brian, what do you say about Murrell versus Roker run?
I'm going to give it a yes. This is one of my favorite matches of Dan's and Roka's, and I even love Dan's come back to Roka's comment about the belt. So yep.
But yeah, it's on me. And I'm actually, yeah, I'll go for this one. I'm going to go for top 10 versus team action 2. I mean, once again, this is another one that really had a big rivalry going in because team action and top 10 was just one of those ones that just one of those rivalries which just happened organically. And I think if I remember rightly, this is the one where the stipulation was if top 10 lost, they had to split up.
Yep.
But and so just as seeing, and I think top 10 won.
Yes, by
Yeah.
TKO.
Yeah, my memory is short. But yeah, just so see top 10 sort of win so decisively, just to keep themselves as a team. It shows sort of what they can do if the pressure is on them to have to pull out this win. Brian, what do you say about top 10 versus team action 2?
I'll give it yes. This gave us the most famous event, the tackle.
Joseph, what do you say about top 10 versus team action 2?
It was their comeback after their match against Team Action. It was their match where they really, really demonstrated that arguably their first match might have been a fluke. But yeah, I vote yes.
But yeah, if that it makes the list, but yeah, that tackle is just one of those ones that moments will live in infamy. Because like everyone that happened to be, but it was everyone that happened to be at Spectacular live. They did not know that was going to happen. I think they were even worried about that too, about Roker too. But Brian was the next one you're going to bring up.
For me, I'll bring up Data Zone versus Rushmore. This has been a match of the making with the whole storyline between the horse Bateman and Murrell, and now Roka JT, and the whole final of them coming together. Even the whole cutscene at the beginning with all the whole dungeon and all of the exchange of going against each other. So yep, that's my pick.
Rushmore versus Danger Zone.
Yes.
Joseph, what to say about Rushmore versus Danger Zone?
I think the match is very close. Let me just look at what other matches I'm considering, because there are 5 spots left. There's looking at what matches John Rocha has been, even though he's been in a lot, it's kind of a shame that he never got to play Rachel Cushing or Clark Wolff at any point. It's kind of something of a match that I would have liked to have seen. But anyway, in terms of losses that Rocha has had, I think this is definitely one of the most competitive ones that he's had. He's been involved in, keeping it real close against Bateman and Dan. I'll go yes.
It does make the list. But yeah, when it comes to Rushmore versus Danger Zone, this is one that I did watch again for this. But when it comes to a lot of these digital matches, like I don't have too much of an issue with the fact they were digital. But it was just it was a fine match. It was competitive, but it was just one of those ones that for some reason when it comes to the digital matches for me personally, they don't feel right a little bit. I mean, well, yes, I know I'm sort of speaking to the choir because I'm in the fan leagues, which is all digital anyway. But it's just when it comes to the Schmoedown, when you're used to it sort of being live studio setting, moving to digital, it's just one of those ones that I just felt the smack talking that was off. But I probably would have gone no, but it still makes the list regardless. But yeah, and move over to Joseph.
So there's two I have in mind, but they're both losses. But I think Roka definitely still kept his game up, even though he may have gotten unlucky on some of the questions, but still keeping it real close, still proving, hey, he's a threat. It's just that sometimes the questions don't go everybody's way, and it went his opponent's ways. I'll go with this one. This is John Roka versus Mark Ellis. This was the culmination of the singles tournament that they did in 2016, when Mark Ellis was one of the team's champions at the time, and then later Roka would play him and Christian in the match in the match of Team Schmoes versus Top 10 1. This match, I think, shows that it was Ellis's season that year, so it might have been more about Ellis. But if you look back at it, Roka keeps it real close, and still, when he feels like he might not be getting some questions, he's able to pull through and still keep it really close. Mark Ellis had to answer all of his questions up to the 5-pointer in order to win the match. Roka had been going on a stream of really great performances after his best spin moment. This was only his second loss of singles. So that's my pick. Roka versus Ellis.
Yeah, I wish I'd rewatched this, to be honest. I don't remember a lot. I believe this is the one where Ellis dressed up as Santa.
No, that's
No,
against
that was
Dan
Murrell.
Murrell. Yeah.
I knew it was, but so yeah, I'm probably going to go no just because I don't really remember this, but I wouldn't be upset if it makes the list either. Because I do like Mark Ellis. Brian, what do you say about Roker versus Ellis?
This is also one of the matches that are very forgettable, so no.
That doesn't make the list. I'm going to try this one. It's another one that it's another Roker. It's Roker versus Riley. And this is the one where Riley won the belt, but this was a really competitive match from the get go.
So 3?
Yeah, the third one.
Roker versus Wally for the title.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it probably would have been. It probably will be 3 because I can't remember if it was in. Yeah. Anyway, I put numbers between some and some I didn't. But anyway, this is for the title. This is where Riley did his whole Karate Kid stick. And this was just a really competitive match. And just seeing yes, I know this is a John Merkin list, but seeing the joy on Riley's face when he managed to capture the belt back, it's just one of those ones that will always be exciting to see. Because I remember watching this video because this was paired with another match, and I just remember seeing this whole thing about Riley not being able to compete. I was like, what the hell's going on? Because at that point, I'd never seen the Karate Kid movie, so I had no idea what it was going on. And then just seeing Clark Wolff running out, going, he's going to compete. It was just one of those ones. But this was a really competitive match for Roka as well, because it really came down to the last set of matches, questions. But Brian, what do you say about Roker versus Riley for the title?
Summer back curves and scream for joy. So this match, I love me watching. We got a post choice for Riley. spinner choice for Roka. It went Roka's way until the very end with the Dream Greer question. I would get this a yes.
And Joseph, what do you say about Roker versus Wally?
At the time this match happened, I was rooting for Riley, but I was also very nervous for Riley because I knew that Roka was a huge, huge threat because he had beaten Murrell for the belt. So I was very intimidated by him, but rooting for Riley. So from that perspective, that definitely shows that Roka was still very, very intense in this match and also very, very embracing his heelish persona as the outlaw. So I vote yes, even though it's a loss. Yes. Oh, and the other match was Miss Movies versus Perry Namath.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
But with that, we move back to Brian.
For me, I'll bring up Roka versus 3. This is one of the first live matches you got digital. And this match went to 5 or 4 questions overtime. We got the whole controversy with the 90s versus 1890s situation. And Roka played great in this match. So this is what I'm nominating.
Joseph, what do you say about Roker versus Irwin 3?
which one is this one? Roka versus Irwin 3.
Yes, the digital.
Okay. I'm honestly, I don't remember too much about this match aside from now that you bring up the 1960s or 60s moment with
Yep.
that part of that match against Irwin. I don't think I might have remembered which one exactly. I'm gonna say no this time.
Yeah, this match is more remembered for the 1960s moment than it is for anything else. And as I said earlier with the Rushmore match, the digital matches, while I liked watching them because I'm used to watching the fan league matches, full stop. The digital matches just were never the same, and this was really early in the digital age when they're still trying to work out sort of how to do them. But yeah, it will be a no for me too. Joseph, what is your next match?
My next match is a match that was a highly anticipated rematch, and that is a match that I think is deserving for this list for one moment in particular. There are a couple of moments that demonstrate top 10's strong team chemistry and being able to go up against Team Schmoes again. This is Team Schmoes versus Top 10 2. The one moment I'm referring to that still impresses me a lot at the time when I was getting into the Schmoedown, their top 10's 5-pointer about the Green Berets, them looking like they're not sure, and then taking their time, and then you see Roka try to think about maybe something, and then takes an educated guess. The Green Berets. That's correct. They're huge. There's a huge relief on their look of relief on their faces, and that moment I think is a huge part to what makes or breaks a player whenever they're playing the Schmoedown or Schmoedown like games in the fan league. So that's my pick: Schmoes versus Top 10 2.
Yeah, I mean, top 10 versus the Schmoes 2. This is an easy yes for me. I rewatched both of those because I knew at least one of them was a really standout match, and I mean they're both great. But this is I just wanted to work out which one I enjoyed better. Because when it comes to matches that Roker had multiple times against the same people, I really wanted to try and get at least try not to put a whole bunch of those similar type matches in here. But top 10 versus Schmoes, this is a great match. So this is an easy yes for me. Brian, what do you say about top 10 versus Schmoes too?
I quite enjoyed this match. I saw as yes.
Two spots left, and it is on me. I'm going to bring up this one. Yeah, I'm going to bring up this one because I'm going to go to one of the live matches that they did, and I'm going for Roker versus JTE. And like the Patriots and top 10 have gone head to head a few times. I think this was either the first or second time JTE has actually faced Roker one on one.
The first time, well,
It might have actually been the first time. I can't remember another JTE Roker match, but
one on one in the Schmoedown, I think it was their first time. They played in like debates, but this was their
yeah,
first time in the Schmoedown.
that's what I was thinking. But yeah, Roker versus JTE. This was just one of those fun matches, and for this to be a live match, it had an extra thing because this was one of the ones that I was watching. Is like, I wish I was here live for this, because this was one of those matches that you could definitely sense all the energy from the crowd, and this is one of those ones that really showed the live matches and how good they can be, and I think if this live match failed, I think there's a chance they probably wouldn't have happened try them again. I mean, but so I think this match being as good as it is, I think is part of the reason we're still getting live matches. Brian, what do you say about Roka versus JTE?
I quite enjoy this match. I love I love the crowd going out to JTE. The crowd cheer for Roka. The promos they made before they started the match, and I love seeing they'll do show up in this match as well.
And Joseph, what do you say about Roka versus JTE?
I would have said yes as well. It's a huge moment to bring back, to bring back Roka, make sure that he stays competitive in those rankings and not completely fall out of the picture, and also get a little bit of his pride back after him and JT's most recent team match at that point. So yes, that I'll say yes, and also I still love that moment where JTE so confidently says the sixth man.
Oh yes,
and Roka takes advantage of that. No, I thought it was the sixth day. Huge swing, and the crowd reacting to it and seeing JT's reaction, like, "What have I done?" No.
And I mean, honestly, it's crazy to think that it took. That was the first time that they faced off one-on-one in a trivia match, because they've both been in the Schmoedown for about the same period of time. It's like, but yeah, Brian, what is the next match you're going to bring up?
Let's go with top 10 versus Patriots who won from the first spectacular. This one I love seeing the crowd's reaction to the match, to the times they missed questions, like how especially JT's Kuba or Tula question, and then Marca saying, and yeah, I scored like trade points with that. Even Matt's reaction at the very end, flipping Roker off. So yep, that's my pick.
Is this the Robert Duvall one?
Yes.
Yep.
Joseph, what were your thoughts on top 10 versus the Patriots one?
And between this or another match, I agree that this one is a very pivotal moment in the Schmoedown, and also for Roka, because top 10 did keep it close against Patriots. Patriots had to answer all their questions up to their 5-pointer with the Robert Duvall moment. I'll vote yes. It's a very important rivalry that should be mentioned, and I do think it's definitely the best match that top 10 has had with the Patriots on their trilogy of matches. I'll vote yes. This being the last one.
Yeah. I would have got. I mean, even if you said no, I would have said yes. Anyway, because this was another one that I rewatched for this because once again, this is another one that they had a few matches. So I didn't get around to watching like actually I watched two. I hadn't gone around to watching. I had that set up ready to watch before this, but yeah, with that but yeah, with that, the matches that we have is Roker versus Mance 1, Roker versus Harlow, Founding Fathers versus Corruption from Orlando, Top 10 versus Top That, Wally Murrell and Roker, Top 10 versus Team Action, Murrell versus Roker 1, Rushmore versus Danger Zone, Roker versus Wally for the title, Top 10 versus Schmoes, and Roker versus JTE Live, and Top 10 versus Patriots. But now we get to the fun part where we get to vote on the rankings. So I'll get my board ready. Brian, did you have any honourable mentions?
Yeah, I had Top 10 versus Real Rejects, Roka versus Baby 2, Roka versus Levine, the One Last Ride match for Spectacular, Triple Threat, the World Contenders, the Hay Park exhibition I had on my list, and the first time with Roka and Urin.
And Joseph, did you have any honourable mentions?
The one other honorable mention, the one other match that I wanted to bring up that I think is another great demonstration of Roka's ability. Well, actually, two matches that really demonstrate Roka's ability to make the best guesses even when he's not sure. His match against Paulo Yama, that South Carolina moment where he guesses a southern state when Oyama guessed something different. I can't remember what it was, but on 2 points without multiple choice, Roka hitting that was a great pull. You could see his face like of surprise. Wow, I actually got that. And the reactions there are also priceless. And the other match that I wanted to bring up was a match that was also needed for Roka to build up his confidence in future matches. His first one-on-one match against Mike Kalinowski. The fact that Kalinowski was at the time double belted. He had just won the team's belt from Shire Wolves, and also he had the Inner Geekdom belt. And Roka was able to confidently and surely take over that match and beat Kalinowski for that match. That was the other one.
Yeah, and for me, some of the honorable mentions I had was Founding Fathers versus Shazam from Spectacular 4. This was just a hard fought match. The total match between Roker and Bibbs. I mean, we briefly talked about, but the first Top 10 versus Schmoes, I think, was a great match. And also, although this might have been knocked down just because of the one moment, but Founding Fathers versus Rate, I know this was a fun match, but I think it's more remembered for Corey Jandrew's entrance than anything. But with that being said, it's time to rank the ones we've got. But Brian, what do you have for number?
Wait, give us some time, please. I'm trying to.
The way I was, so.
Yeah,
I'm still trying to figure it out. Give me a second. Please.
But oh yeah, the other one that I did actually think about too that I was considering bringing up was John Roker versus Alex Wolff, because it showed that
Yes.
celebrities like can hang with the best of them as well.
All right, ready.
But yeah, Brian, what do you have for 12?
Firefighters versus Corruption 3.
Joseph.
I went Roka versus Mance.
we're going to go to the chat because I put top 10 versus top that. So I believe Leo's in the chat, but Leo, top 10 versus top that. Scott, Mance versus Roker or Corruption versus Founding Fathers. Which one do you think it should be number 12? Otherwise, I will put them all on a wheel and we'll let fate decide. And I'll get the wheel set up just in case nothing comes up. And he got in there. It's Founding Fathers is Corruption Free. Don't ask me why I capitalized corruption. It wasn't intentional. But Joseph, what do you have for 11?
My vote is still the same. Roka versus Mance.
Yeah, I'm sticking with top 10 versus top that. Brian.
Top 10 versus top that.
Top 10 versus top that is going to be 11. I've actually got Roker versus Harlow at 10. Brian, what do you have at 10?
Top 10 versus Schmoedown 2.
Joseph.
Roka versus JTE.
And we go to the chat again. So we got top 10 versus Schmoedown 2, Roker versus Harlow, and Roker versus JT. Which one of those do you think should be at 10? I'll get a wheel just in case. But it worked last time. We'll see if it should work again.
He says Roka JTE.
Roker JTE is going to be 10. It just took a while to come up on the StreamYard side, but I'm glad someone else is keeping an eye on the comments. Move over to 9. And Brian, are you sticking with what you had?
Yep, still top 10 versus Schmoedown 2.
And I'm sticking with Rocker Harlow. Joseph?
Top 10 versus Patriots one.
So we've got Roker versus Harlow, top 10 versus Patriots, and top 10 versus Schmoedown 2. Which one should be 9? Chat. I really need a better way to break ties, but this is the only way.
It says top 10
top 10
Schmoedown.
Schmoedown 2. But Joseph, what do you have for 8?
I changed my vote to top 10 versus Team Action 2.
I'm sticking with Roker Harlow. Brian.
Roka Harlow.
Roker Harlow is going to be 8. Ryan, what do you have for 7?
Top 10 versus Action 2.
Joseph?
I kept it at top 10 versus Team Action 2.
I went for Rushmore versus Danger Zone, but top 10 versus Team Action 2 is going to be number 7. But just to recap what we've got left, Roker versus Mance, Wally, Murrell, Roka, Murrell versus Roker 1, Rushmore versus Danger Zone, Roker versus Wally, and top 10.
Top 10 versus the Patriots.
Yeah. Some reason I thought they'd gone, but I must have confused it with one of the other ones. Brian, what do you have for 6?
Rushmore versus Danger Zone.
Joseph?
Rushmore versus Danger Zone.
We all agree. Rushmore versus Danger Zone. Joseph, what do you have for 5?
Roka versus Mance 1.
Roker versus Mance. Brian?
I have Murrell versus Roka 1.
Roker versus Mance is going to be 5. Joseph, what do you have for 4?
Top 10 versus Patriots 1.
I've got Roker versus Riley. Brian?
Same Roka Murrell.
So we've got another tie. We've got Roker versus Riley, Roker versus Murrell, and top 10 versus Patriots. So chat, which one do you think should be number 4? But this is at the point where like this is honestly really tough.
Oh, Leo, top 10 Patriots 1.
Top 10 Patriots 1 is going to be 4. But Joseph, what do you have for 3?
Funnily enough, it's Roka versus Riley 3.
I've also got Roker versus Riley. Ryan?
Same Roka Murrell.
But instead of going for number 2, we're going straight to number 1. And it's between Riley versus Murrell versus Roker or Murrell versus Roker 1. But Brian, what do you have for number one?
Murrell versus Roka versus Wally.
Joseph.
The best Roka match is Roka versus Murrell 1.
And I also went Roker versus Murrell 1. But I will, once I finish writing these down, I will recap. Just to recap our top 12 John Roker Schmoedown matches. We've got Founding Fathers versus Corruption 3. Top 10 versus Top That at 11. At 10, we've got Roker versus JTE. At 9, we've got Top 10 versus Schmoes 2. At 8, we've got Roker versus Harlow. At 7, we've got Team Action versus Top 10 versus Team Action 2. At 6, we've got Rushmore versus Danger Zone. At 5, we've got Roker versus Mance. At 4, we've got Top 10 versus Patriots 1. At 3, we've got Roker versus Wally 3. At 2, we've got Roker versus Wally versus Murrell. And number 1 is Roker versus Murrell. But that is the show for this week. Brian, we can find you online.
I'm around. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. I do some of these shows like George Show sometimes, Movie Hero. I'm part of the movie battle just Butterfly Account Network, which is the Disney/Pixar division. And yep.
And Joseph, where can people find you online?
I'm around on Facebook and various fan league groups on Facebook, and I'm also on Letterboxd at Joseph020.
And yeah, this is the point of the show where I would normally go. I've got the poll up next week. But I've actually decided this is going to be the last show of 2021. I know I promised that I'll do potentially a Christmas episode a while back, but honestly, it was a lot of it was stressful trying to get a panel for this week. December is a busy month for most people because of Christmas. So I'm just decided we're going to take the this off. This is the last, and make this the last show. We'll be back early January. I'm looking at potentially January the 9th. And it's going to start. We're going to kick things off with our usual best movies of insert year here thing, which will be 2021. But with that being said, you can find me usually hosting Rankin and Late Night on Take 3. Everything will be, both those shows will be back next year. You can find me over on Full Metal, but once again, all the Full Metal stuff I normally host is on hiatus and that. So essentially, you can find me on those next year doing things. They're just not happening at the moment this month. We're just busy sorting things out for Snowball this year. But yeah, until next year, keep listening shit.